Good evening. Welcome to Love Talk. I'm Gregory Morgan, and you are watching a live television broadcast produced by Embrace Growth, a company that is committed to leaving a legacy of love for future generations. The purpose of this show really is to speak with you about what works and what doesn't work in your relationships. And that, of course, means all relationships. So we'll be talking about love and forgiveness, compassion and creating boundaries, really understanding the differences between men and women and really what motivates us. Men and women have very, very different priorities in life. So I think there's been a lot of misunderstanding in the last few generations about the equality of men and women or the inequality of men and women. And so one of the things that we want to clear up, while as human beings we may be equal in the eyes of God and equally lovable by our parents, the truth of the matter is, on the playing field in life, there's the theory of the game and then there's the game, any game, right? Whether it be football or pool, there's theorizing about the game, there's the rules of the game, and then there's actually playing the game itself. And that's what I mean by when I say on the field of the game of love and romance. Men and women are not equal, and nothing could be more apparent, and yet we tend to try to be politically correct and pretend that we are. Men and women are not equal. They're not the same, and they're not equal. There are things that women are vastly superior to men at, and there are things that men are vastly superior to women. There's things that men cannot do very well, and there's things that women cannot do very well. And so we're not playing the same game, and we do not come from the same set of values and priorities. Therefore, having a relationship with someone from the opposite sex means to align your priorities. It means that maybe I'm willing to relinquish some of my priorities in order to be in a relationship with you. However, there's only so much that I can give up or compromise before I begin to compromise my own self or begin to compromise my own values. So I don't suggest that people compromise your values in your relationships, because your values are your values. However, I believe that one of the great things about relationships is that we continue to expand our viewpoint about life, and we continue to grow and develop and expand our values. I can say that in my own relationship with my wife that there are things that I value now that before we were in relationship, they weren't important to me. Now they're important to me because they're important to her. And also I've grown to appreciate in certain things, certain ways of being or different values in life, and so are characteristics in other human beings that before they weren't so much in my attention. So in being in a relationship with my wife, I have expanded my point of view, I have expanded my values, and I have grown to encompass a broader spectrum with more possibilities in it than I would have had I stayed alone and on my own path. If you're in a relationship in which you are required to restrict your values, to pull your values in other words, those things that are important to you that you're passionate about. Now, I want to make a distinction here. There's a difference between a value and an addiction. There's a difference between something that really moves you, touches you, inspires you, makes you want to be a better person, that leaves you with a feeling of fulfillment, something that you like because it's an addiction, because it helps you to avoid facing responsibilities or reality, and keeps you from actually growing and developing, and actually has a harmful effect either on your health, your well-being, or your financial well-being, or the well-being of the people around you. I wouldn't call that a value. And some people like to portray their addictions as values. And so I want to make a distinction here, that there is a big distinction between values and those things that you are compulsive about, those things that you feel that you must have in your life, and begin to look at what are really core values. And your core values, you know, if I gave you a list of 50 values, you would probably say, well, geez, pretty much all of those. I value all those things. You know, most of them, and most people would value the things that are on a, if I gave you a list of 50 values, I think that, you know, I saw a list recently of about 57 values, and I couldn't think of another one that wasn't on the list. So it seemed to be a pretty complete list of values, of people's values. There were very few of them on there that I would say, well, that's not important to me. What I'm talking about when I say a core value is simply this: something that when it's missing, you are not yourself. You're just not yourself. And those core values are pretty simple. They are, there's probably 3 or 4 of them in your life. You know, one of my values is integrity. When there's no integrity, I'm just not well. When I'm with people that don't have integrity, it sort of bothers me. I feel uncomfortable, and in some cases I'm just completely repulsed, or I just don't like it, or sometimes it'll really make me angry. But in other words, one of the ways you may know what your values are is that when it's missing, you're all out of sorts. You're not well. You may be even passionately angry about it or upset. And when that value is present, you feel complete, you feel whole, you feel fulfilled. You may even be moved to tears. You may be inspired and get goosebumps. So those are the things that I want to point out to you I begin to identify your core values, because my core values are mine. I could sit here and list my core values, and some of them may resonate with you and some of them may not. So what's important here is not so much my values, but yours. If you are living your core values, you will be challenged, but you will be happy and fulfilled. If you really want to make a difference in life, if you really want to be happy and fulfilled in life, if you want to be motivated, if you want to have a life that leaves something for your family and friends, your culture, your nation, it's very, very important that you begin to find what are your 2 or 3 core values and make sure you have that in your life all the time. It doesn't mean that you will never have challenges or that you will never have problems. In fact, if you stand for a value, what you will begin to see is everything that is not that. You'll begin to see all of the things that are not that. You know, I have a friend who, for whom cleanliness is very, very important, okay? And whenever I've gone to a restaurant or any place with him, what he sees is every little piece of dirt or lint or something that's not there, that's there that is not clean. They put the silverware on the table, it looks great to me, but he's like, he sees if there's anything at all on the glass or on anything. Even if the floor over there has something on it, it bothers him. You know, now some people may say, well, he's obsessive compulsive, right? I don't think it's quite that bad with him. It's just that, like, he wants the world to be clean and orderly, and it bothers him when it's not, right? So he sees everything that's not clean and orderly. So it makes me nervous when he comes to my house or gets in my car or whatever, because what's he going to see that I don't see, right? I said I value integrity. I also value honor. Both of these things, you know, integrity can be measured, but honor really cannot. And so I realized that I created a problem for myself by valuing honor, but I noticed that when it's present, when I am in a situation, or when I see it in a film, or I hear it in a poem, or I see an interaction that embodies or manifests a honor, the self-respect, the kind of love and nobility and dignity that is brought forth, usually in a masculine sense. I begin to distinguish that people value honor, but the ones who suffer when it's not there are men. I've noticed that men have a sense of honor that when they are not living in correlation with their honor, in other words, if they're not manifesting their honor, if they are not living an honorable life, put simply, that they suffer. They suffer mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. Honor and integrity, I notice, were something that's not only important to me, it's important to men. So I'm going to go ahead and take this call. We'll come back to that subject in a moment, and let's see what's going on here. Hello, this is Gregory. You're live on the air.
Hi, Mr. Morgan.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
How are you today?
I'm excellent. Thank you.
I am calling from the state of Massachusetts, I am myself a spiritual person, and it's been a long time. I love to study about spirituality, and I have been interested to be more close in God and to be more spiritual. Then I listen right now to your speech, and sometimes I also before listen to your show when you were talking, and I think you are talking about spirituality. And your speech is different from other psychologists who perform the program on TV, on Iranian TV. I want to know about what did you study and what is that about? I'd love to know if it's possible to explain more to me. And am I right that you are spiritual because your words are different?
Well, I would say that yes, I'm a very spiritually based person, and many of the concepts that I'm speaking about come from I would call them a spiritual inner knowing, kind of awakening that has occurred over here with me many years ago, and I've had a number of experiences in my life that I guess people might call.
Oh God, you got some experiences, or
yeah. So, but I'm not a psychologist. I've studied psychology, and it's one of many things that I have studied. But more than that, I have been meditating for over 40 years now, and
you are meditating patients, yes?
Pardon me? Yes, I do take. I do have clients. I have private clients that I consult with in my office or by Skype or over the phone. Is that what you're asking me?
Yes. Did I hear Mr. Morgan right? Is he a spiritual person? Because your speech is different from other psychologists who are on Iranian TV. I speak something about God, and it was like when I was, I think, 22 years old, I started to love to be with God, and I found a strange feeling. And then I heard that you are talking. I love to hear more and more about
Thank you.
Miracle.
I got it.
It's a miracle, really, to be close to God and be spiritual. Not anybody can be like that.
Well, yes, they can. Actually,
if they want.
It's our nature.
Morgan, if they want to be, some people don't don't have time.
Well, yeah, we all have the same amount of time.
Oh.
You and I and everybody else have exactly the same amount of time.
These days people spend their time or thinking about their, always they are thinking about their partner, their boyfriend, their girlfriend. They think they can, everything is material,
Yeah, that's how they choose to spend their time. That's all.
Yes.
They choose to, that's a choice. I chose that for many years. For many years I chose going after money and building a reputation and building up material wealth, and I didn't throw all that away. But that would be stupid as far as I'm concerned. I've heard of people who have worked 20, 30, 40 years to get wealthy, and then they have a spiritual awakening one day, and then they feel compelled to give away all of their riches and to give away everything that they've worked on. I think that's kind of silly. I think that you should share your abundance, and I think that your wealth and well-being and your prosperity should benefit people. I think that's normal and natural, and I try to make sure that my life is a benefit to other people. And that's really why I'm here. I'm only here on this show doing Embrace Growth, doing men's workshops, doing books and CDs. I mean, basically every day what I'm up to is how can I make a difference for other people? Because that's how I choose to spend my time. That's what makes me happy. That's what makes me get up in the morning, when I feel like I don't make a difference for people, I feel like disappointed in myself, like I've been given so many gifts in my life that I feel it's almost a duty I feel like it's my duty to try to help as many people as I can in whatever way that I can. And where I particularly see people suffering is in their relationships, so that's why I do that.
Mr. Morgan, thank you very much for explanation, but I wanna know more about meditation. How do you meditate? I want to say bye. Good luck to you and your wife.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for watching the
Bye.
show. Yeah, thanks you. Well, the woman asked about meditation, and I could try to teach meditation on a TV show. I haven't quite thought about that, and I have done a few shows in which I have discussed meditation, you know, had an interaction with a number of people. But if you have never meditated, then, and you're not interested in meditation, then that would be a poor use of our time. People begin to meditate when they're ready. And so then they begin to seek out the answers that are right for them. Anybody can meditate, and almost everybody does. Sometimes I was meditating for years and didn't know it. It was called that, you see. My sister from Oklahoma called it staring off into space. I don't know, maybe they thought there was something wrong with me when I was a kid, because I like to go and be alone out in the fields, or sometimes I'd go sit up in a tree. I'd climb trees and sit up there, and I could just sit for hours and just be with nature and just be there. And I was thoroughly entertained and completely fulfilled, and I felt nature and God calling me to go and be quiet and be still and just listen. And so I became very grounded, if you will, in that part of myself, which you have the same parts. It's not a part, it's really who you are. Just that part of yourself, which is, I call it the witness. There's a part of you that is watching, who is experiencing the world from the inside out, and who is very wise, and who can refer to its own inner knowledge in order to learn something. So you could even say that you are self-taught in a way. And this part of you, I believe, has always been there and is very connected to all there is. And by all there is, I mean all consciousness, all knowledge, all awareness, past, present, and future, and can travel easily in many domains. If you can close your eyes and imagine voyaging, then there is a part of you that I'm speaking to and I'm speaking about, where I believe all of the great creativity, all of the songs, the music, the poetry of Hafez that I've read in English, and I recognize where he's coming from. I wish I could speak as eloquently, of course, but he says the things, and I think that that's why so many people love Hafez and Rumi, because they speak the words very, very beautifully of a place that we all know and recognize, of a state of mind and innocence and wisdom, and a sort of funny, sometimes clever and entertaining way of viewing the world that we call enlightenment, or we call spiritually awakened. But you've been there. If you're still listening to this program after all I've just said, it's because you recognize something. You recognize some truth in what is being said, and remembering in a way this part of yourself that I'm speaking about. There are many ways to become centered and calm in that place, and then, you know, later on people will look and say, oh, they're meditating. You know, when I was a child meditating, I didn't call it meditation. I didn't even have that word. I didn't know what they were talking. If somebody said, oh, Gregory's meditating, I wouldn't even know what they were talking about, you see. I believe that we all do get very quiet and listen to our inner voice, if you will, listen to our inner soul. There's many, many ways to do that. I think the most simple and accessible way to do that is to be able to just focus your eyes on one thing. And it could be the tip of your finger, although that could get a little boring. You know, most people would choose a candle or a stone or a flower, but it doesn't matter what it is, really. You know, I would propose that it should be something pleasant to your eyes rather than look at something sick and dirty. You know, however, the Buddhists say that you should be able to attain enlightenment even sitting on a pile of garbage. So it doesn't, wherever you choose to focus your mind, if you can focus your mind on just one thing for even a few moments and let everything else go away, then you are meditating in a very real sense. And if you can focus your mind on one thing and put everything else away, then eventually you can even put that one thing away and experience the true emptiness. And in this emptiness, it's not empty at all. In the emptiness, it is complete possibility, the possibility of possibility. In the emptiness, there is the possibility of virtually everything. Everything comes from nothing, don't you see? If you want to be able to create, vividly create your life and create your body, your well-being, create your relationships, create your career, create your life, in other words, create the things that make you who you are consciously, then that creation can only be done from a place of emptiness, and in the emptiness is all possibility, you see. For those of you who are interested in meditation, I propose that you find somebody to teach meditation and learn about it and begin to immediately, like today. Don't think about it. If you've been thinking about it, then do it. You wouldn't even have thought about it if it wasn't something that was calling to you from your subconscious mind. So some part of you may be enlivened or awakened by this conversation, and if it is, then I propose that you take action on that right away, and that you find a nice quiet place and that you begin to meditate, even if it's just for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, it doesn't matter, because in that amount of time, your whole central nervous system, your conscious and subconscious mind can come together for even just a few moments and create a state of inner peace. And that inner peace feels like home. You'll begin to recognize it and want to go back there. We have a caller on the line. I'm going to go ahead and take that call. Hello, this is Gregory, and you are live on the air.
I am in a relationship. And I cannot decide if I want to marry with this person or not.
Well, so let's ask some questions and find out some things, okay? How long have you known the person?
1.5 years.
You've known him for a year and a half, okay? And how old are you and how old is he? Tell me about this relationship. In other words, I need to know, do you live in the same town? Are you from a different religion? I mean, tell me about the relationship.
You know what? We are both students,
okay.
PhD students, and we both are in the same age, but he is 1 year younger than me, and we are from same religious and from same country, and the only thing that I can tell you, even we are compatible in terms of family, like from same class, but in terms of the chemistry, I don't feel the way that I used to felt for other men that I love them. Like, I know it's like a physical attraction. There are lots of things that shows a good sign to marry this guy, but chemistry, I think there's not enough. Although I can sleep with the guy and I love that, but we are just two normal person, like in society, wherever, in university, I don't feel very attracted. I don't feel that I want to show this guy to everyone and be very proud of him. And while he is an intelligent guy and he is one of the good students in university, I mean, for sure he will have a good future.
Yeah, okay, I got it. But you're not that attracted to him, and you're older than him. So it's not somebody you said that you would feel really proud to go and show him to everyone. So you have,
okay.
Yeah, so you have some cultural or societal consideration about whether or not he is good enough for you.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm not sure that it's for my obsession. When I want to think that I want to say no to this person in that moment, I cannot say no.
What do you think that's about?
I think I'm very dependent to the person.
Yeah, I think that you just don't want to be alone and not have anyone.
Yeah, maybe you are right, because here I live alone and I don't have any emotional support, and I'm afraid of future, maybe I will be alone, and those are stuff, and I will tell myself, oh, you know what, you just let the guy, and, you know, that was a mistake. I'm not sure about the future. I don't feel very secure to do this.
Here's the thing: we can talk about what got you there. If you want the short conversation, if you want to go kind of to the point, what I'm hearing is that you're using him until something better comes along.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting, just from the few things that you've said. That if some older, better-looking, smarter guy came along, you'd go with that. Am I wrong? This is just, you know, my intuition telling me this.
Oh, no, you are right. You know what? It happened. It happened several times for me. It happened several times for me to see that kind of person, like more attractive.
Right.
But I couldn't, you know what, I felt that person is more attractive for me, but I couldn't leave the guy.
You're being run by your, also the fact that you've had sexual relationships with him creates a chemical bond between you and him. It's called oxytocin bonding. Women have about 35% more oxytocin than men do. Pleasurable sexual experiences causes women to bond with whoever gave them that experience. And so there's also a biochemical compulsion to stay with that, because your brain, your body, your nervous system is telling you this feels like home, even though it's not the one that you would ultimately want to choose. So I predict that if you were to marry this guy, that you would probably have an affair at some point. I think that you would probably have the types of issues that you would probably have in your relationship would be the kind of issues that people have when the guy feels like he's not good enough for the girl. For a man to be successful in a long-term relationship, he needs to be with a woman who, when he's with her, she makes him feel 10 feet tall. She makes him feel like, and not, be careful, I'm using the word make. I don't mean it, obviously you can't make anyone anything, right?
Right.
Right. So don't get me wrong. When he's with you, he feels bigger, stronger, handsomer, cooler, smarter. He feels great because you love him and adore him and think he's the greatest. That's not happening over there.
Yes.
And believe me, he knows it. Men aren't as stupid as they let on. They may act stupid, but they're not. So, you know, I don't think you're fooling him, and I don't think that you're going to end up with him personally. I don't think that's going to happen. You know, there's nothing wrong with having a relationship for a while. However, if you've ever listened to my 12 Stages of Romantic Relationship, have you ever heard that CD?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a CD called The 12 Stages of Romantic Relationship. Romantic relationships move through stages, and you cannot skip a stage, okay? And you have to be really honest about these stages. You can't pretend. If you're pretending, it just won't work. You know, I used to be an architectural designer, and if you want to design and build a home that would outlast your entire lifetime and last into future generations, there's very specific steps that you have to go through, and you can't skip one. If you skip a step, you'll end up tearing out some of the construction work that you've already done and having to do it over, and it costs a lot more. And it slows the job down. Romantic relationships are very similar to this in that there's stages that people naturally move through. And once you've distinguished these stages, you go, oh, this is the stage I'm in. I see now, you see? But it's like you need to know these stages and move through them consciously and with full awareness so that you don't keep going to stage 4, 5, or 6 in a relationship and then having it all break down, and then you go right back to the beginning, which, by the way, stage 1 is flirting. Stage 1 is flirting, right? You never even met the person, you see them, you start flirting with them. That's stage 1, okay?
True.
Marriage is like 7 or 8 stages down the road. There's a whole bunch of things that happen before people actually get married. And it could break down at any one of those stages. And what most people do, especially I've seen it a lot in the Persian culture, they get married and sometimes they don't even have the flirting. They just go like straight into, I like you, you like me, let's get married. Then they end up in our office or in a lawyer's office sooner or later.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I mean, it's just, it's so predictable that it will turn out that way that we can actually, you know, I don't have any problems telling you that I don't see that this, even if you got married to him, these are the kind of things that are going to end up happening unless, you know, he suddenly turns into a big stud and, you know, totally turns you on and, you know, sweeps you off your feet. And hey, I always tell women, give the guy a chance, you know?
Yeah.
Give him a chance. Maybe he's got some growing to do. I've gotten younger and better looking since I've been with my wife, tooting my own horn here a little bit. But I used to look older than I do now. 15 years ago, I looked older than I do now.
Oh, okay.
All right?
All right. Do you have a time to ask that question? Or?
Well, what's the question?
In the moment that I feel, oh, that's fine, I want to leave him, I told you I cannot say that, but there's another problem. In that moment also, I think I love him.
Well, you need to distinguish between what is a bonding, which can lead to codependency. You know, when you told me I'm not that attracted to him, I didn't say this, but I thought it. That's good. Now you can figure out whether you love the person that's there, okay? What happens with girls, especially with women, is that once the oxytocin bonding happens, if you're like wildly sexually attracted to a guy, ladies, that's not a good time to be trying to make a decision about whether you love the man or not, because you're out of your mind. You're not in your right mind if you're very sexually attracted to a guy. You're not thinking straight.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Your feelings, the biochemical response that's going on in your body and in your nervous system is bathing your brain with signals saying, he's the one. Right? Now, everybody knows, I'm sure you do, that feeling goes away someday, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And when it does, there's just this guy there. And the guy's got faults. He does stupid things. He's got good characteristics and bad characteristics. But you couldn't see them before because your brain was being bathed with this oxytocin and all these peptides that were telling you, it's him, he's the one, he's your soulmate, you know? So even when he said something really stupid, you would go, oh, that's so cute.
Right, right.
So I always tell women, you know, why don't you figure out whether you like this guy or whether you love him before you fall in love, before you have this oxytocin rush with him. And, you know, if you've watched my show or if you listen to me enough, you know that I don't have any sort of moralistic judgment at all about people having sex before marriage. The only reason I recommend that you don't have sex is simply because it makes you crazy. You can't figure out whether you like somebody or whether they're a good person or not, whether you're fit. Your logic goes out the window. As soon as you start having sex, and if it's good sex, then it colors everything else about, and so your logic goes out the window. You understand?
Yeah. So
that you're not so sexually attracted to him might be a good thing for you to figure out. Maybe you do love the guy, you know? Would he make a good husband? Would he make a good father? Would he be the kind of guy that when you're being your awful self, right?
Right.
When you're flipping out and you feel like throwing dishes or doing whatever you do that make men want to run away, is he the kind of guy that can stay the course and say, listen, I'll take care of it, whatever it is, you know? Will he have the integrity and the character and the backbone to you know, get up in the middle of the night and take care of the kids, to go to work whenever he's sick, to take care of you when you're being an absolute difficult to deal with person? Yes? That's the kind of things you want to find out about a guy. That's what being a husband and being a father requires, those kinds of characteristics. It requires self-sacrifice, discipline, rigor, honesty. You know, it requires something I call getting off it. You know, like when you're like really on it, you're really mad and you're really upset, and then it's inappropriate to do that in front of the children. You have to get off it. You have to get off it.
Yeah,
and,
the problem,
you know?
the problem is that I think he has like 90% or 95% of all these good stuff that a man should have.
Mm-hmm.
Chemical. That's the problem. And
Just what? Just what? Chemical. Is that what you said?
yeah.
Yeah.
Chemistry, sorry.
You know, maybe he needs to go to the gym and, you know, tighten up his look or something. You know, I don't know what the guy looks like, but,
Yeah.
you know, when I first met my wife, she went out with me for a while, and then she started making some kind of comment about my clothing. And I was like, I felt pretty upset that because I considered myself to be a cool dresser, you see, but she didn't.
Yeah.
And she said something about it, and I said, and at first I got very upset. Like, how dare you speak about, like, you know, I was insulted. But then I got a hold of myself, and this is a characteristic that I think makes a difference when you're going to be a husband or a lover, or, you know, it makes a difference. I got off it. I said, okay, I didn't like that. It hurt my feelings, blah, blah, blah. But here's the deal. Tomorrow, we'll go in my closet, and the clothes that you don't like, we'll put them over there in that pile, okay? And then we'll go shopping, and you'll help me pick out some clothes like you like. I said, there's a couple of things. Don't touch my cowboy boots. Leave my leather jacket alone. There's a few things that are me, that I come with that. You can't touch that. The rest of it, I don't care. You can change, you know, let's go get some nice things. And so we did. She threw most of my clothes out, and we went and bought some suits and some other things. And
Yeah, thank you.
And then I went to the gym, and I was sort of worked out. She said, I don't like your hair like this. I like it like that. In other words, I didn't let her change me in ways that didn't fit with my own character or personality, but I'm willing to go to work and improve myself. And so maybe he would be. That's why I say give him a chance. If you feel like maybe you love him, give him a chance. Maybe this chemical thing could work out.
Yeah.
You know? Also, the part of you know that every man and every woman is both masculine and feminine, yes?
Yes.
Yeah. We have both masculine and feminine in us. And the part of you that has to have your eyes be pleased in order to feel turned on is the masculine part. That is not the feminine part of you. That's the masculine part of you. The masculine part is always looking for something to be hot, you know, something to be visually turned on. The feminine part of you is turned on by her ears. In other words, what's he saying that is appealing to me? What is he offering? Who is he being? You're listening with your heart and with your ears. Women fall in love through their ears. Men fall in love through their eyes.
Yeah.
Okay? So you got to decide also whether you want to be the masculine one in the relationship or the feminine one, because there has to be one of each.
Yeah.
There has to be one of each. If you're the masculine one, then he's going to have to either fight against that or become the feminine one. And given that he's younger than you, and you already think he's maybe not good enough, that's probably what he would do. Except the masculine part of him, once he grows up a little more and he starts getting in his 30s and 40s, this is what they call a midlife crisis. The person who's 30 or 40, he gets in his 40s, and he says, enough of that. I'm a man now, and I'm not going to put up with certain things anymore, and I need something else. Even if he seems like he's less mature than you right now, that won't last forever. Someday he will grow into his masculine self, and he won't want to feel less than someone. He'll want to feel like he's the boss.
Yeah.
Right? And so the feminine part of you should be prepared to allow him that, to encourage him to be that, you know, to be all the man that he could possibly be. So I hope this has helped you. I hope it's helped other women who are also listening who may find themselves in a similar situation. Okay? Get the 12 stages, and also get my wife's book called Girl Talk. Both of those pieces of work are about how to choose a mate, how to navigate a relationship, and how to deal with the natural growth and development that comes from being in a relationship, okay? It's a very inexpensive way to educate yourself on some of the most fundamental things that people don't know about relationships.
Okay.
All right?
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. Hello, this is Gregory. You're live on the air.
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Excellent, thank you. How can I help you?
I would say that 35% of the women, they have more...
Oxytocin.
35, yes.
Oxytocin.
Exactly.
Men have oxytocin too.
So how do you break that?
You wouldn't want that to break.
Bond,
Oh, how do you break the bond?
How do you break it, especially when you're in a long-term relationship? How
Well,
do you break that?
it's about like trying to get off of heroin, okay? Or stop smoking or drinking coffee or whatever else you're addicted to. It is a very powerful drug, okay? And it's produced in the hypothalamus. It is produced, I'm going to tell you how it's produced in women. Women have a surge of oxytocin, meaning like a spike, okay? It's like hitting up a drug whenever they have an orgasm, during breastfeeding, and during childbirth are the three most maximum times that women get completely flooded with oxytocin. So if you've had any of those experiences, then your brain has been washed with this. And if you want to separate from somebody, do you see that the nature of the drug is designed, the nature of it's a neuropeptide, and its nature is designed to have you bond with the father of your child, you see, for life. And it's designed to have the mother bond with the child. You ever notice how mothers are more bonded with their children than fathers are?
Exactly.
Yeah, because of all that, because of it came out of her as part of her physically, and if she's breastfed, then she's had a daily dose of bonding chemicals. You know, it's one of the most bonding experiences on the planet. You know.
So in other words, bring addiction to a woman. In other words, it's kind of addiction.
It's like an addiction. Okay. Now, when you've had an oxytocin bonding or with a man, and it's been over a period of time, then the sound of his voice, or anyone that even sounds like him, even they've done experiments where they would like trace the outline of somebody, you know, like their shadow. Even his profile in silhouette will cause you to have an oxytocin spike, okay? The sound of his footsteps on the floor, his smell on a piece of clothing or a pillowcase or anything, all of those things cause oxytocin spiking, a rise in oxytocin. That's why when women break up with men, they'll like drive by their house and look at the window. They'll see the car, that'll give them a spike. They will listen to his voice on the answering machine and hang up. All of it's like getting a hit, okay? It's all of those things will give you an oxytocin spike. So
the book that you were just mentioning, is that going to help?
Pardon me?
The book that you were just
well, the book won't help.
mentioning, the 12 step of relationship, is that going to help?
It's going to help you understand. It will not necessarily help you break the oxytocin bond that you have with someone. How you break the oxytocin bond with somebody is you get rid of virtually everything that has anything to do with them, meaning all photographs, every possession that had anything to do with them, and I propose that you ritualistically either destroy them or give them away. In other words, if it's a lot of photographs, that you build a little fire and you burn them, okay? Or that but you must delete their name from your phone, all of that stuff, okay? Their email, anything that will remind you of them will continue to create the bond, you see? And you will be drawn to go back to it, knowing it's there. And when you accidentally come across it, you find yourself stopping and maybe even crying or whatever, having some emotion about the person. If you really want to break an oxytocin bond, you must break all ties. You must tell them, please never call me, don't come by my house, don't show up at places where you know I'm going to be, and have those accidental coincidences and encounters. Don't go around my friends and ask them about me or tell them to tell me stuff. In other words, please go away completely and leave me alone. And then you have about 2 years.
2 years.
How long have you been with this person?
10.
10 years? Okay. To break off ties with somebody that you've been together with for 10 years, it's like the death of a sibling or something. It's as if a brother or sister died. How long does it take to get over that? Right? Because you're used to hearing their voice, their footsteps on the floor, smelling them, even though they're not around, that you smell all the things that are around you that have them on it, their favorite chair, their favorite cup, all this stuff. In other words, this person has become a part of your neurological system. There's places in your neurology where you and them are the same. It's like there's no separation anymore. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yeah, so
That's why it's the mobile way.
yeah, so to break that bond, you must make a decision to do it, first of all, an irrevocable decision. And then you must create structures that support that system. In other words, you got to tell your friends, don't talk to this guy, and if he calls you, don't tell me about it. I don't want to hear it. Just tell him to go away and leave me alone, and don't you tell me he called you. I don't want to know. In other words, that would be a structure. Do you understand?
Yes. Yes.
You might need to move to another town. You might need to change your phone number. Those are structures that hold your life together, and you need to create a life that's only yours without him in it. And that's a conscious decision you have to make. It almost seems cruel or brutal, but it will speed up the process. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I said men have oxytocin too. I've been married for 17 years with someone, and I had to break a bond like that, and it was painful. It's
Going to another.
Pardon me?
Gonna help it?
Pardon me?
You go to another relationship. Is that gonna help?
It might help you, but it won't help the person you're in relationship with.
Yeah.
That's called triangulations. You see, he deserves, whoever this new guy is, he deserves to have a relationship with you and only you. Unfortunately, he'll be having a relationship with you and Mr. What's his name, you see? Who will be hidden in your subconscious someplace, and you will be using this guy to help blank out Mr. What's his name.
Okay.
So it might work for you, but it won't work for him.
Well,
It's not very nice. A lot of people do it, and I'll tell you how that usually turns out. It's called triangulation. It's when somebody's not strong enough to pull themselves up out of a hole in the ground that they've dug, okay? So they latch on to somebody that's outside the hole, and they pull themselves up using that person's energy to get themselves up out of the hole, and then they can cut the ties with the other one. And then what almost always happens is that they discard this other one too. Ah, I feel better now.
would you give time between this? If you break up and do all these things, how long is it,
I'd give yourself at least a year.
At least a year.
10-year relationship, a year, year and a half. I'm not saying don't have any relationships, but don't go get strongly bonded to somebody else, because then you're just changing, heroin for morphine. You're just changing opium for heroin, or you know what I'm saying? You're just changing drugs.
Yeah.
Okay? You're exhibiting addictive, codependent behavior, so you aren't getting well. Do you see what I'm saying? And the person that you're in relationship deserves, I would suppose, I will give them the benefit of the doubt. They deserve to have a relationship with a healthy, happy, whole, fulfilled, communicative person who is self-possessed, you see. But you're not self-possessed. You are possessed by an ex-lover. And there's no getting around this. You have to heal yourself, and it takes time. And I'm sorry, if you find somebody that tells you that you could do this in a shorter than a year and a half, they're not telling you the truth. And they're not, okay? They're telling you a theory, but I'm telling you theory that's backed up by my own personal experience and by the experience of hundreds of people I've worked with. It takes time. And the best thing that you could do is find out what your life's about, what you're passionate about, what you love. So you see, if your life is about some guy, then you don't even have a life that's worth living. Your life is pretty useless. And no guy will really value a woman whose life is all about him.
That's exactly what is happening.
Yeah. If your life's all about this guy, the new guy, he's not going to value you. You have no value, really, because you know why? You don't value yourself. Your value as a woman is to love yourself, to care for yourself, to nurture yourself, to respect yourself, to honor yourself, because you cannot expect somebody else to do all that if you can't do it for yourself, you see. You can't give what you don't have, and you can't receive what you don't need. If you need...
Dependency classes is going to help.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Codependency classes will definitely help. Absolutely. You know, unfortunately, that's the model that we've all inherited is codependency. Nobody has taught until that, well, I'm not going to say nobody has. I've learned it and I'm teaching it with my wife, interdependency, where you are completely independent, your own person, and you choose to depend on another independent person by choice. That choice is something you can always take back and you'll still be just fine because you're independent. Two, in other words, in your model of relationship, there's always a 0 and a 100. There's a master and a slave. There's one who's everything and one who's nothing. Okay, that's the model. You know, who wouldn't want to have a slave, right?
Exactly.
But the model of relationship that I'm proposing and that we propose at Embrace Growth, and we teach people how to do this in our seminars and workshops and our books and DVDs and in our private sessions, we absolutely teach you how to be a whole, complete, independent person who has their own life, their own purpose, their own fulfillment, their own joy, their own spiritual connection, their own health and well-being, their own finances, that you are completely together with yourself. And you bring that abundance and prosperity and beauty and love and completeness to a relationship with another person who is also at that level, you see? And so the model of if when somebody wants you to get codependent with them, it would repulse you. You wouldn't be interested at all.
Thank you so much.
Yeah? It's like if you found out that all your life...
I'm always learn a lot from you. Please. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for calling. Let me know how that turns out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. It's as if you have been eating something that is toxic and poison all your life. And you've watched a number of people die from it, but you didn't know that's what was killing them. Then one day you discover that this thing you've been eating all your life is what was killing you, and you started eating something healthy that was good for you, and you actually felt good, and you started to see more clearly, and you started to be more energetic and healthy and happy and full of love and wanting to contribute and participate in society. Then if somebody offered you that old food that you used to eat, you'd go, no thanks, I don't eat that anymore. That's the difference that you feel when you make the shift and heal yourself from codependent relationships and you start owning your own life. Thank you for watching my show. I will be back here again next week on Love Talk. Thank you.
یک مرد منحصر به فرد، مسلط، متمرکز، قابل اعتماد و رضایتمند باشید. کارگاه شرافت، عزت کلام و مهارت به رهبری دکتر آزیتا سایان. تورنتو 21 تا 23 سپتامبر، همبورگ 19 تا 21 اکتبر، ایروان ارمنستان 15 تا 17 آگوست، لس آنجلس 2 تا 4 نوامبر، 310 460 2600. از این پس برنامه دنیای عشق رو از جم USA روزهای جمعه 9 شب، شنبه 11:30 شب، یک شنبه 1:30 ظهر و دوشنبه 8:30 صبح به وقت لس آنجلس دنبال کنید. خانم دکتر آزیتا سایان در برنامه دنیای عشق جوابگوی سوالات شما هستند و به مباحث مهمی همچون ازدواج، تربیت فرزندان، افسردگی، طلاق، سکس، همجنسگرایی، خیانت و هزاران موضوع متنوع دیگر می‌پردازند. برای اطلاعات بیشتر از برنامه‌ها، سمینارها و کارگاه‌های خانم دکتر آزیتا سایان با شماره 310 460 2600 تماس بگیرید و یا از اپلیکیشن و یا وبسایت Embrace Growth دیدن کنید. در کارگاه‌های آموزشی بانوان به رهبری دکتر آزیتا سایان با دستیابی به اهمیت و ارزش واقعی خود، قدرت زنانگی و آرامش خود را بازیابید. ایروان ارمنستان 7 تا 9 فوریه، لس آنجلس 22 تا 24 فوریه، تورنتو 15 تا 17 مارچ و همبورگ 26 تا 28 آپریل. 310 460 2600. اپلیکیشن امبریس گروت همکنون در اپ استور. با ساختن اکانت شخصی شما می توانید پروفایل خود را مدیریت و زبان مورد نظر خود را بین فارسی و انگلیسی انتخاب کنید. وقت مشاوره خود را رزرو نمایید. محصولات از جمله CD، DVD و کتاب‌ها را خریداری و دانلود نمایید و یا برای کارگاه‌ها و سمینارها نام‌نویسی کنید. همچنین شما می توانید به برنامه‌های تلویزیونی و رادیویی دکتر سایان و یا آقای مورگن به صورت رایگان دسترسی داشته باشید. اپلیکیشن امبریس گروت را امروز از اپ استور دانلود کنید.
Welcome to the all-new EmbraceGrowth.com. You'll have access to all the content you love at the click of a button. Videos of seminars, events, and the ability to sign up for workshops. Direct access to digital downloads right from your mobile devices. Stay in the know and see our latest graduate events. Watch your favorites anytime, anywhere. Visit us today at EmbraceGrowth.com.
اپلیکیشن امبریس گروت. با ساختن اکانت شخصی شما می توانید وارد پروفایل خود شده و تنظیمات آن را تغییر دهید. به تمامی رویدادها و محصولات دسترسی داشته باشید. با چند کلیک برای سمینارها و کارگاه‌ها ثبت نام کنید و یا وقت مشاوره خود را رزرو نمایید. اپلیکیشن امبریس گروت را امروز از اپ استور دانلود کنید و به خانواده جهانی امبریس گروت بپیوندید. برنامه دنیای عشق با دکتر آزیتا سایان، برنامه‌ای که تمامی سوالهای شما را جواب می‌دهد. ازدواج، عشق، سکس، همجنسگرایی، فرزندان، والدین، خیانت. از یوتیوب لایو استریم، فیسبوک و اینستاگرام لایو. سه شنبه ها و پنج شنبه ها 10 شب به وقت ایران و 10:30 صبح به وقت لس آنجلس. تلفن تماس با استودیو 818 532 66 55.
A haven for the weary soul, a source of inspiration and community, redesigned to bring you meaningful experiences and unforgettable events. We are a worldwide community of vibrant individuals, displayed in the people who are a part of it, from many nations, backgrounds, and beliefs. Through powerful outreach programs, the struggles of everyday life are confronted and conquered, transforming those who participate into the best versions of themselves. One-on-one sessions are available to keep you headed in the right direction, coupled with the best resources to remind you how to live, whether at home or elsewhere. Programs designed for men, providing the building blocks of maturity, commitment, integrity, and leadership, paving the way for productive and fulfilling manhood. Beyond an understanding of masculine leadership is its application in daily life and development into something truly unique. Exclusive training for women, encouraging growth and empowerment through an acceptance of their true identities, redefining interactions, and changing the viewpoint through which life is seen. Embracing the woman within and accessing facets of your personality hidden beneath the surface. Showing our youth the value of integrity and reliability by creating an indwelling desire to succeed with honor, basing the future on a solid foundation of ideals that will guide them through life, leading by example, and showing others how to clearly convey their thoughts in a compelling way, creating a culture of mature leaders who can help others achieve self-confidence and their goals. Real people and real lives are changed for the better. With every event, more are touched and come to an understanding of their place in this world and their community. Embrace Growth is run by a passionate team and led by the diligence and inspiration of Dr. Azita Sayan and Mr. Gregory Morgan, who consistently teach life lessons based on what works, rather than the passing fads of the times.